A woman posted to TikTok how she got into $71,000 of credit card debt. Here are ways to avoid that. Last month, I was featured in a Newsweek article talking about how personal debt could actually land you underwater. It's a very common thing, unfortunately, in this environment because credit card companies make it so easy for you to be able to build up debt. Businesses offer you 0% interest financing and all these promotional offers, and you just buy and buy and buy and buy and buy until you get to a point where you can no longer pay that back or buy anything else because your credit score is down in the dumps and you have no money to pay anything because you don't have savings either. In the economy and the world that we're currently living in, a lot of people live way above their means. Don't get me wrong, credit card debt can be good if you know how to use it. You have to be able to play the game the right way. The reason why people get into so much trouble is because if you actually look at the terms and conditions of these credit card promotional offers, you have to make sure that you pay back the loan timely every single month for however long that promotion lasts. It can be 9 months, 12 months, 18 months. And if you don't, then that interest kicks in. And we're not talking about a regular interest rate that you can get from a bank today, which is hovering around the 7% mark. We're talking about double digits. Some of these are 20%. Recently, I looked at a statement from Macy's. We actually play this credit card game all the time. I love it. Why not? If somebody's giving you a 0% loan for a course of 36 months, that's 3 years at 0%, you'd be silly not to take it. Now, going back to my example, I was looking at this credit card statement and I looked at the rates and it said 30.99%. That is insane. 30% for a couch? That would be just crazy. It's not worth making the purchase if you can't stick to the terms and conditions or if you can't even afford it. So you have to be careful with what you're spending on and not live beyond your means. Now, let's talk about how we can avoid getting into this scenario in the first place. Now, in the Newsweek article, the lady actually had student debt on top of credit card debt. And this is also a common occurrence, unfortunately, because people are going to universities and spending a ton of money per year for each semester, as well as room and board. And at the end of the day, they graduate and they get a job that doesn't pay them nearly enough to pay off that debt. Here's another huge loan that's hanging over somebody's head in instances for the rest of their life. You have to be able to tackle that as well. So you have to make sure that you're saving enough to pay off your student loans or going into any beneficial programs that the government has been offering for the last couple of years, especially during COVID. They were offering forbearance programs. They're offering income-based repayment programs. As long as you're at least paying down the interest and not building up additional debt on the principal, because it's cumulative, you should be able to get that under control. Now, let's talk a little bit about the actual credit card debt here. I'm a huge fan of credit card arbitrage. And what we can do with the credit card companies is use all of these kind of promotions to our advantage. Now, if we look at the regular interest rates right now, we're hovering around 7% for a traditional loan. That's 7% annual rate. Just to paint this out, if you take a $10,000 loan from the bank, let's keep it small, at a 7% interest rate, you're gonna end up paying the bank $700 over the course of that 1 year in interest. And you still have to pay down the principal. Let's kind of paint a little analogy here using the credit card balance transfer offers that I'm sure you get all the time. You'll open up the mail, there's a little like check in the mail from your credit card that says use this for whatever you want. That would be a balance transfer offer. Now, what do you do with that? You can take advantage of this balance transfer offer and use the funds that you have in your credit card to do one of two things. One, you could either transfer a balance from another credit card to this credit card. If you have another credit card where you're paying 12, 20, etc. % interest, first of all, that's bad. You want to kind of get rid of that and bring it down to lower APR credit card or even a loan at this point. I would take out a loan to cover that debt because you don't want anything in double digits for that matter of an interest rate. But you can also transfer it to this credit card. When you do that, the credit card company usually assesses a 3% transfer fee. Let's take that $10,000 example. You transfer 10 grand from a higher interest credit card to a lower interest credit card or a 0% promotional offer in this case. You're going to pay 3% 3%. So you're gonna pay $300 to transfer $10,000 over into this credit card. If we compare it to the $700, you're already saving $400. But that's not the only thing that we're comparing it to. We're also comparing to the double-digit interest rate that you have on that other credit card. So you're saving even more. You may be saying, but this is only for a 12-month period. I get that, and that's fine. So you have 12 months to get things paid off or to continue playing this game. You can do this in perpetuity if you open up multiple credit cards and have zero balances in that credit card. So the only way for this to actually work is if you have a zero balance credit card and then transfer funds into that card. Why? Because the credit card companies are smart. Obviously, they already figured out a way to get you paying 20+% interest. That's why it's important to also read the terms and conditions and understand the debt that you're getting yourself into to avoid this scenario. If you want to do a 0% balance transfer, what you're going to have to do is make sure that you have nothing, a zero balance to begin with on whatever credit card you're transferring into, then transfer into it. You can have that 0% loan for whatever that term is, 12 months, 18 months. Obviously, the longer the better, because if it's 3% for 18 months, that's even a better deal because you're getting to pay it off in a much longer period of time. Make sure to open up other cards or keep balances low or close to zero if you need to transfer again in the future. Now, one other thing that I want to mention is that some credit card companies actually allow you to use your available credit as a cash deposit into a checking account. And now we're not talking about a cash advance. That's a different concept. We're actually talking about using the credit limit that you have as real cash, just as you would with a balance transfer. Bank of America is one of the financial institutions that I know for a fact allows this to happen, where you can actually taking a loan, a short-term loan from your credit limit, you can deposit that money into your bank account and pay a 3% balance transfer rate to take that money and put it into your account, and then you can do whatever you want with that money. It's an easy way to tap in short-term financing and not having to go to a traditional bank and getting a traditional loan at a much lower rate with much better terms. But again, to be able to accomplish all of this successfully, you have to monitor your spending, you have to understand how this tool works, and as long as you know how this works and you're on top of everything, this is actually an amazing opportunity for you to be able to get float, meaning have your money, sometimes even earn money on that money. That's why debt is your friend, and not face this horrible scenario where you're facing $71,000 of debt and not knowing where to turn. At the end of the day, keep that in mind. Debt is your friend if you know how to use it. Don't get yourself into trouble by living beyond your means. Save and do it the right way. If there's something you want me to talk about, feel free to comment below. I'm happy to share my thoughts on whatever it is that's bothering you. Like, follow, subscribe, and share for more.